Hello, everyone. Good night for everyone who is here in Brazil. Good afternoon if you are on Colombia, and if you are on Australia, good morning for you. We are here once again with an amazing Spiegel Tech webinar today, and once again with our amazing partner UNESCO to talk about technologies with you guys. And today, our team is the leadership in emerging technology, and we have the amazing Renata for UNESCO. She's the representative for UNESCO in Brazil, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the university and everything they have to offer. And to talk about the team that we have today, we are with the amazing Professor Fabrizio, that it is the head of the business school in the UNESCO Australia. So we have so much to learn today. If you want to go to Australia, if your dream is to go to learn technology onshore, this is the right webinar for you. I know you're going to have a lot of information here, and you are going to fall in love with UNESCO. The same way as we did, the same way as a lot of students did before. And if you go to their university, you surely are going to be in good hands. So now I'm going to ask for you, Renata, to present yourself a little bit.
Thank you very much, Julia. It's a pleasure to be here again. I have participated in other webinars with Spiegel Tech, and it's a pleasure to be here talking more about University of Southern Queensland in Australia, and also to have here Professor Fabricio to bring some knowledge from our programs at the UniSQ. So I'm going to have a presentation to give you an overall about University of Southern Queensland, but I'll let Professor Fabricio introduce himself before I go to my presentation.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. I'm Fabrizio Carmignani. I'm the head of school and dean of the business school. It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to be here with all of you, and I look forward to talking a little bit more about information technology, artificial intelligence, and the impact that this has on new business leadership.
Amazing, Professor. I'm so happy to have you both here. So I think that we can already go starting, following our. So we are a little bit forward the time. It's early, so you don't have to worry. We can take a breath and do our presentations with calm. So Renata, if you want to please tell us a little bit about UNESCO. I know everyone here are really excited to hear it. You can share your screen with us.
Thank you, Julia. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you so we can have a better idea of University of Southern Queensland. So let me share it. Can you see my screen, Julia? Just waiting for your confirmation.
Yes, we are seeing your screen. You have the room.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
So as Julia said, I'm Renata Balaguer, and I am the in-country manager for University of Southern Queensland here in Brazil and the whole Latin America. I'm going to be giving you an idea of University of Southern Queensland, the programs that we offer, our beautiful campuses, a little bit of lifestyle in Australia. So I would like to start with this slide showing the beauty of Australia, which is a beautiful country, amazing destination, especially for international students. Australia is a very welcoming country. We have many nationalities, people from all over the world. And for you to have an idea, almost half of the population in Australia was not born in Australia, but away from Australia. So it's a very multicultural country. It's a very welcoming country. It's also a safe country, especially for international students. If you're considering coming to Australia to study, it's a safe country for you to study and live in. And students can also work while they're studying, and they can work up to 48 hours every 15 days. So they can work, and this helps the students to pay for their expenses, living expenses, accommodation, meals, and also travel around Australia. And this is our location for you to have an idea. We are located in the Queensland state. We are in the northeast part of Australia, and we are not in the capital, which is Brisbane, but we are very, very close to the capital. Queensland state is also considered a sunshine state because we have at least 300 days per year of sunlight. So the weather is very pleasant and very welcoming. And in my opinion, the most beautiful beaches in Australia are located in Queensland State. Here you can have an idea of our location. As I said, we are now located in Brisbane, which is the capital of the state of Queensland, but we have three beautiful campuses very near Brisbane. So we have UniSQ Springfield, around 35 minutes from Brisbane, UniSQ Ipswich, which is the second campus that we have, about 45 minutes from Brisbane, and we also have our Toowoomba campus, about 1 hour and a half driving from Brisbane. So you can see that we are very, very close to the capital. A curious thing about Brisbane is that in 80 years, we're going to be hosting the Olympic Games. So this area, this region, has been have been receiving a lot of investments, a lot of remodeling, constructions. So it's the place to be in Australia for the next 8 years, at least the next 80 years, because all the eyes of Australia are towards this region, the region of Brisbane, especially because of the Olympic Games. And it's also a beautiful place to live. And it's very close to the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast. It's a very, very nice area. Some rankings that I would like to share with you is that we have very good rankings. We have 5 stars for teaching, for research, for internationalization, and for employability. And one thing that UniSQ is very focused in is to bring to the classroom the practical part of the program, because we want our students to be out there and find jobs once they graduate from UniSQ. We also have 5 stars for the best graduate starting salary in Australia. We are top 400 worldwide, so we are number 400 among the best 400 universities in the world, and we're top 58 among young universities, because UniSQ is a young university. A little bit about UniSQ. We're considered a boutique university because we are a more intimate university. Our classrooms are not huge. We have smaller size classrooms where academics and students, they have this interaction among themselves. So professors know the students by their names. It's a very, very intimate and very close relationship. And we have 3 beautiful campuses, but most of our students are online students. So our campuses are kind of smaller. Even though they are smaller, the facilities are amazing, which I'm going to be showing you later. But I just wanted to bring you this idea, this concept of a boutique university, a more intimate and a more, where we have this close relationship to the students. As I said, we were the first university in Australia to offer online programs. So we are a very technological university. We were the first university to offer this kind of program. 70% of our students are online. We have a lot of students in Australia who do their bachelor degree, master's degree from other states in the country, but we also have international students pursuing their degree abroad. But we know that our students here in Latin America, which is the region that I represent, UniSQ, our students want to travel abroad, want to have that experience. But I wanted to bring you this concept that we are very experts in online program. You can have an idea here in this slide about our 3 campuses. So Toowoomba campus is our main campus where we offer almost all programs at UniSQ. It's the largest campus. We have our own accommodation there as well. It's a beautiful city, around 150,000 people. And it's very nice for hiking, beautiful nature. Here on the bottom right, we have Springfield campus, which is about 30 minutes from Brisbane. Is a campus more focused in the engineering, business as well. We have communication, radio, TV. We have an aviation simulator, a flight simulator there. We have 2 flight simulators, but one of them is located in Brisbane, the other is in Toowoomba. And the Ipswich campus is our campus related to the health area. So all of our programs related to, for example, psychology, paramedicine, nursing, the health area, we offer there. We are a very comprehensive university. We offer all levels of education. So we offer English programs especially for the students who need to improve their English. before they start their studies. So sometimes the students don't have the requirement, the English requirement for the program, so they can come a little earlier and study with us for 10, 20 weeks, and then move forward to the program at UniSQ. We offer bachelor degree, master's degree, PhD, so we have all levels of education at UniSQ. And we also have more than 100 programs. I know that today we're going to be talking about technology/business, but I want for you to have an idea of our pool of programs that we have, our areas of study. We are very comprehensive. So these are all the areas that we have in our 3 campuses at UniSQ. Even though we are a smaller university, more a boutique style university, our facilities are amazing, our world-class facilities. As I said, we have 2 flight simulators. We are the only university in Australia that has 2 flight simulators, one from Boeing and another one from Airbus. We have amazing engineering laboratories. We have our paramedicine trucks. We have our nursing hospital, everything there in our campus, so you can have the practical component of your course, and then you're going to be ready to go out there once you graduate and find your job. I cannot guarantee you're going to find your job, but I can guarantee that UniSQ will be preparing you for that. Applying for UniSQ is not that complicated at all. It's very straightforward. All we need is your passport, your document, your ID, which is passport since you are international students, your proof of English, which can be IELTS, Pearson test, or TOEFL. We are going to be needing your academics, your transcript, your previous studies, and your curriculum. That's it. Of course, there are some specific areas that will require extra documents, but the majority of our programs are going to be asking you for these 4 documents as a requirement to apply. Last but not least, for 2025, we're going to be offering a 15% scholarship, which means that once you apply for UniSQ and if you get accepted in your program, you're going to be receiving automatically a 15% reduction on the total of your tuition. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to apply for that scholarship. You just need to apply for your program. And once you get accepted, the letter of offer will come with a reduction. So it's simple as that. This is a great scholarship. This year we were offering 10%, but next year 15%, which is great. We have 3 intakes, February, May, and September. So you can choose when you want to start your studies. And this is my contact, my email address. I'm based in Brazil, so I can help you in the same time zone or very close time zone. Feel free to contact me, or feel free to contact Spibo, because Spibo is one of our agent partners here in LATAM, and they're going to be able to help you as well. Thank you very much, Julia. And
thank you, Renata.
Sharing my screen.
I can stop your screen. Yes, it works.
Okay.
Thank you, Renata, for the amazing presentation. I don't even work with nothing that has something to do with airplanes, but I do want to try those flight simulators. It sounds amazing. But if you do not want, yes, and if the person do not want to work with technology, that's fine, because you're sure going to have some opportunities and programs for them. I mean, more than 100 programs, this is a lot.
Yes, a lot.
It is a lot. So I'm really grateful, Renata, for an amazing presentation. And now I want to give the word for our starter of the night, Professor Fabrizio. I will share your screen because I know that not only me, but everyone that is here, they are really amazed to have the opportunity to hear everything you know and can share with us. So the room is yours and you have your time, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you as well, Renata, for a great presentation. Let me start by something that we do in Australia. In Australia, we have an acknowledgement of country whenever we start a presentation, and this is a way for us to recognize our history and the traditional custodians of this land, of the Australian land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathering today, pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging, and extend this respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who might be in the audience. It is, as I said, an acknowledgement of country that we do very much in recognition of our past, and to strengthen the relationship that we as society in Australia have with our history, with the traditional populations that have been living on this land for thousands and thousands of years. So, as we said at the beginning, my name is Fabrizio Carmignani. I'm an Italian by origin. I'm one of the many Australians who was born abroad. So now I have a double citizenship, but I'm one of those 30 and more % Australians that were not born in Australia. I moved to Australia in 2009. I used to work for the United Nations. I'm an economist by trade. So I'm a professor of economics. I have a PhD in economics. I worked for the United Nations for many years as an economist, traveling a little bit around the world. I visited a number of countries in Latin America. I was based primarily in African countries and at the headquarters in Switzerland. And then eventually, a family decision, we decided to try something new. We came to Australia, and it's been such a fantastic experience that with my family, we have decided to stay here. And as I said, we have been here now for about 15 years. I'm speaking from our beautiful Springfield campus. The School of Business, of which I'm the dean, is split between the Toowoomba campus and the Springfield campus. So we run our programs in Toowoomba and in Springfield. I spend half of my time in Springfield, half of my time in Toowoomba, but I live in Brisbane. This can give a very good idea of what Renata was saying before in terms of how close our campuses are to the city. In fact, from my own home to the Springfield campus, it's actually a 15-minute drive. What I thought I would do today is to talk a little bit about the challenges that artificial intelligence is bringing into the world of business, particularly when we think about the business leaders. We all observe the incredible changes and opportunities that come from artificial intelligence, from daily use of ChatGPT or similar tools to the biggest applications that happen worldwide. And there are, of course, excellent opportunities. There is a great potential that comes out from the application of artificial intelligence into business. But there are also challenges. There are also uncertainties. There are questions that obviously emerge. And business leaders, so anyone who has a position of some sort of responsibility towards others, has to tackle those challenges, has to tackle those questions. And this has brought about a big change in the very notion of leadership in business and how to go about it. So I will go a little bit through these ideas. And at the end, if I have a moment before we can open for questions, I also would like to say something a bit more specific on how we integrate artificial intelligence and business in our school in terms of learning, in terms of research, in terms of impact. I will, of course, be happy to take questions at the end. I don't know if there is a live chat, but at the end, when I finish the presentation, we can have a Q&A. I would be very happy to do that. So,
yes, we do have the live chat, so we have the questions in there.
Thank you. So when I talk about the application of business, of artificial intelligence in business, I'm not just referring to the casual use of ChatGPT. That happens almost with everyone today. I'm talking about the real integration of artificial intelligence tools into the business operation. Now, this is happening already for about 40% of companies globally. So slightly less than half of all companies, big, medium, and small size, but 40% of all companies are already integrating artificial intelligence in their operations. And there is an expectation that within just a few years, there will be another more than 40% of companies that do that. So we are moving towards a situation where within a few years, the very large majority of all businesses in the world will have artificial intelligence fully integrated into their operations. At the moment, a country like India is leading the pack. That's where we observe the largest rate of implementation of artificial intelligence in business. But all the countries are growing in that direction. And the reason why all companies are using artificial intelligence is because, as I said before, when properly used, artificial intelligence provides a competitive advantage. It increases efficiency, it improves customer service, it helps prevent fraud. That's particularly important, for instance, in financial service businesses. As more and more companies adopt artificial intelligence tools into their business, clearly, those companies that don't will lag behind. So it will become, in a few years, almost a necessary condition to be able to use AI effectively and efficiently if you want to stay competitive in your market. There are, however, as I said, a number of challenges. Adopting artificial intelligence, as I said, when you really try to integrate artificial intelligence into business, there are challenges and costs. We will talk a bit more in a second about this, but think about the cost of simply learning and implementing such a new tool like AI into a business that has operated traditionally without much technology for a number of years. There is also a risk of becoming dependent on the supplier of the technology. And in some applications, from a business perspective, we observe that the return on using artificial intelligence is not always clear. So what we in business call the return on investment, how much you get back from this investment of time and money to introduce artificial intelligence, is sometimes unknown. That's why so far a full integration of AI into operations is mostly done in larger companies. Larger companies have better opportunity, more resources to face the challenges, undertake the risk, and then take advantage of the benefits of artificial intelligence. But medium-sized and smaller companies are also moving in that direction. So think of yourself as someone who, as I said, is running a business in whichever position, a small business or a larger business, someone who works in a corporation with some sort of position of responsibility. What does it mean to introduce artificial intelligence in your business? Well, the first challenge is that we need to understand it. There is a complexity challenge. Using ChatGPT, again, just to use an example, is not the same as bringing a full artificial intelligence model into your business. So the first challenge for many business leaders today is to understand the complexity of artificial intelligence and how best artificial intelligence can be of use to the company. There is a big risk that if you take artificial intelligence into your business in the wrong way, you don't generate benefit, you generate losses. So there is a first challenge in terms of complexity and strategic vision. The second big challenge when we try to bring AI, or when we have to adapt AI to our business, is what I said before. We are talking about businesses that in many cases have been operating for a number of years in a certain way. They have a certain standard of current operations, they have a certain way to do things. An innovation like artificial intelligence is by definition disruptive. It will change the way in which you do things dramatically. So there is a little bit of a balancing act that has to be undertaken by business leaders when bringing in such a disruptive innovation into an existing business. There is a tendency, or there might be a risk of doing too much too quickly, which would be very disruptive and completely disrupt the operation of the business. So at the same time, you don't want to go too slow in this process of innovation. So you have to find the right pace to balance the innovative tool, which is artificial intelligence, with your current operations. Implicit in that is also the challenge of disruption. There is no question that many would fear the introduction of artificial intelligence in business. The most common fear that you hear is that artificial intelligence is going to replace workers, that we will not need human work if we use artificial intelligence. Let me tell you immediately now that that's not the case. Artificial intelligence will change the type of work that people do. Certainly some type of works will no longer be needed, but new type of works will emerge. So this process of change becomes an important challenge for a business leader, something that has to be managed. Taking responsibility, for instance, for professionally developed staff. When we bring in artificial intelligence, we have to take care of our existing staff and put them in a position to work with artificial intelligence. So there is upskilling, retraining. The other challenge that is very important is that artificial intelligence can help in many ways, but it also might make you exposed to cybersecurity attacks. Right now, it's a continuous struggle between protecting your systems from cybersecurity attacks and managing the flexibility of your system. So you have to think about how the introduction of artificial intelligence makes you more or less vulnerable to the risk of cybersecurity attack, data breach, confidentiality breach, things that have a huge cost for companies. There are, of course, challenges related to regulation. Artificial intelligence is a new thing, but it starts progressively to be regulated more and more across different countries. Regulations across different countries are not always consistent. So if you are a multinational company working across different countries, sometimes you have to deal with different type of regulations, and that's can be a bit of a headache. One important challenge is the one that has to do with responsibility. In many businesses, and I will give you a few examples in a moment, artificial intelligence actually contributes to the decision-making process. So artificial intelligence algorithms or rules based on artificial intelligence are used to make decisions. But in that case, who is responsible for the decision? You can't blame artificial intelligence for the wrong decision, for a biased decision, for an unethical decision. But at the same time, if you delegate some of the decision-making process to artificial intelligence, you need to think about who retains the control and the responsibility for the artificial intelligence. It's a very important question. It's a question of ethics that I think we as a community, as a society, we will need to address over the years to come. So it's a long list of challenges. And how do businesses, how do leaders and managers in businesses respond or adapt their style to these challenges? The first thing is to consider that we can group all of these challenges in sort of two big categories. One is the one related to fear of the new things, resistance to change. The other big category is the complexity and the risks that come with this innovation of artificial intelligence. Now, I call this a playbook, but it's not really a playbook. It's my idea based on conversations with many businesses, with companies, based on the research that we do in the School of Business. it's my idea of a playbook for new leaders. The fear and resistance to change requires the business leader to, first of all, make sure that artificial intelligence is complementing what we do as humans. It's not a full substitute by any means. It's what I said before. Artificial intelligence is not going to replace us all. Artificial intelligence is not going to make human work irrelevant or unnecessary. It's a complement to what we do. It requires transformation, but it's a complement to what we do, particularly when it comes to decision making. I don't believe in full delegation of decision making to artificial intelligence tools, exactly for the reasons that I said before. There is an issue of ethics underlying that. So it's a tool, it's a support, it's something to support the activities that we do. And for this reason, it's very important for leaders to make sure that there is collaboration between the workforce, staff and all those who work in the company with the artificial intelligence, which goes back to the point of making everyone comfortable with the idea of artificial intelligence, training staff in using artificial intelligence, upskilling, reskilling staff to support their transformation so that they can work in the new environment that is generated with the introduction of artificial intelligence in your business. And leaders have to do a lot of buy-in. Bringing artificial intelligence into the business is not just about something that you do overnight, installing a new program, a new software on your computer, and off you go. Now, there is a lot of preparation that has to happen, explaining to workers what's going to happen, bringing your board of directors, your clients, your suppliers on board in this transformation. So you need to talk a lot with your stakeholders to make sure that they understand the transformation that is going to happen and that they are supportive of that transformation. When it comes to managing the category of challenges that go under risk and complexity, the first important point is to make sure that artificial intelligence is brought into the business in a way that aligns with the goals of the business. The last thing that you want is to dump a full system of artificial intelligence tools and have a complete disalignment between what these tools do and what you want to achieve as a company. You might need to bring in some new talent. As I said, we all need to understand artificial intelligence, and we are not all experts, but there are experts out there. And sometimes it's a matter of bringing in this new talent so that they can help you navigate the complexity of this new world. And then you also need to manage expectations. Let's not think that artificial intelligence alone will change your business and make it super successful overnight. You need to have a good idea of the expectation, what is going to change, how. Initially, there will be costs. Initially, you will not see immediately the return on your investment. You have to go through a period of time of adaptation, of transformation. And therefore, you don't want to set expectation too high in terms of impact of artificial intelligence at the beginning. You do have to take into account the initial disruption before you can start growing your business thanks to the innovation that you have introduced. Please, Julia, let me know how I'm doing with time if I'm going beyond my time.
No, you do have more time. It's fine, Professor.
Let me give you some example of businesses where we are observing a huge impact of artificial intelligence. I'll start with healthcare because at the University of Queensland, we have a great tradition of working in the healthcare space. And a lot of the research that we do in my school, in the business school on artificial intelligence applications are indeed in the healthcare sector. And in healthcare, artificial intelligence is being used now to assist in diagnosing diseases, in analyzing medical data, in suggesting personalized treatment plans. There is a lot of work, for instance, that we are doing in the school on how to use artificial intelligence to improve disease detection in certain cohort of the population, for instance, in remote areas of the country, in the poorest areas of the country. That's a big, when you think about it, these are tasks that traditionally were done by doctors and nurses. Now, a lot of this is being supported by artificial intelligence, or even done by artificial intelligence. So, in the healthcare sector, now, business leaders, and generally speaking, those that used to do those functions, can have an opportunity to refocus their time much more on important issues like ensuring that artificial intelligence is delivering these outcomes in a way that is ethical, that there is data privacy. When you delegate a lot of these diagnosing tasks to artificial intelligence, when you delegate the analysis of data to artificial intelligence, there is always a risk of breaching confidentiality, and certainly, health data are very confidential. So the job of the leader is to make sure that artificial intelligence works without breaching the type of confidentiality and privacy that we expect from a patient-doctor relationship, but also that artificial intelligence works or that we work in the most possible ethical way. Sometimes artificial intelligence we look at the data, but the decision that has to be made ultimately by humans has to be ethical, as we said before. Another good example of use of artificial intelligence in business is the supply chain and logistics. In the integrated world economy that we have today, supply chain and logistics are critical drivers of economic well-being. We all know that the disruption of supply chain and logistics businesses was in the post-COVID phase was at the root of the increase in inflation that we have observed for the last couple of years. This is to give you an idea of how important supply chain businesses are in the context of the global economy. A lot of work is done by artificial intelligence in terms of forecasting the best way to move merchandise across countries. So planning the trip, planning the route, planning the inventory, so how much merchandise has to be stocked and how much has to be shipped at any point in time, forecasting demands in different markets so that we can plan the transportation of merchandise at the right time to the right destination. So all of this is being done now by artificial intelligence. Because artificial intelligence does that, we no longer need a business leader sitting in their office and planning those things. That's done by artificial intelligence. This gives business leaders in supply chain and logistics more time to focus on more, if you want, human aspects of the business, like customer satisfaction, like engagement with the different markets, like strategizing on finding new business development opportunities. Marketing and advertising and financial services are two traditional, if you want, business areas where we are observing a lot of impact from artificial intelligence. Look, let me just mention financial services. All the things that were done in the past using an Excel spreadsheet and all the calculations that were done in order to execute trade and manage portfolio are now being done by artificial intelligence in most financial services. Similar financial services use artificial intelligence to detect fraud. In the banking sector, in the financial services sector that's becoming a top priority. So again, leaders, those who are in a leadership role in financial technology, financial services, no longer need to worry about this more operational aspect of the business, but they can shift their attention towards developing strategies, have more time to oversee the business and make sure that, again, artificial intelligence is run in a way that is supportive of the goals of the business. There is therefore a lot of disruption also for leadership when it comes to dealing with artificial intelligence. The role of a business leader, as you can see from this example, is changing dramatically. And this is a bit of a summary of what I think we can say in terms of transition from traditional leadership to new leadership. The traditional leader, the business leader that we used to have before the advent of artificial intelligence was very much a director, okay? Making decisions based on experience, making decisions based on intuition, often making those decisions at the top and then directing to the bottom of the corporation. With artificial intelligence, the business leader becomes more of a facilitator. Decisions are going to be based much more on data analysis that is provided by artificial intelligence. So again, I believe that decisions will continue to be made primarily by business leaders, human business leaders, but this decision will be informed by the data analysis, the data information that is provided by artificial intelligence. But the new business leader as a facilitator will have a much bigger role in managing technology and people together, creating those type of complementarities that are necessary for collaboration between technology and human capabilities. The new leader will also be very adaptable. Look, artificial intelligence is changing by the day. The tools that we use are changing by the day. And, it's not a one-off process. It's not that you decide today to start integrating artificial intelligence into your business and then you're done for the rest of the 10 years. Probably you have to redo this process over and over again. So a lot of adaptability. Let me conclude this with just, if you are the new business leader and you go to sleep at night and you have time to think about your role, inevitably you will ask yourself a number of questions. This is on the left-hand side of the slide. You will ask yourself questions that essentially boil down to the question, what's my role? What am I doing here now that I have all these artificial intelligence tools that do so many things? Am I still relevant? How do I help my colleagues cope with this change? And what's going to happen next, given that every day that I wake up in the morning, there is a new innovation in the artificial intelligence field? So these are pretty heavy questions that make you wonder, why am I doing that? But on the right-hand side of the screen, there are the good things, the positive things of a new business leader. Because of the introduction of artificial intelligence, business leadership will have essentially more time to think about the strategy, to think about the business development, to focus on growing their staff, growing their own talent. Those kind of things that ultimately give you satisfaction because give you the opportunity as a business leader to have an impact, to contribute to the organizational change, to contribute to the transformation of the culture in your business. So some headaches on the left-hand side of the slide and some pluses on the right-hand side. And if I have one last minute, let me do a little bit of a blurb around the School of Business. All the things that I said are are things that we study and we research continuously in the School of Business. And we integrate our learning, our own learning, in conversation, as I said, with a business leader. We have very strong partnerships with businesses in the school. So all what we learn through our engagement with business leaders, through our own research and so on, we channel it into our degrees. And the issues that I've discussed today are taught in our Information Systems Management, which is a major in the Bachelor of Business. And at the postgraduate level, they are taught in our Master of Information Systems or in our Master of Business and MBA, in some specializations of the Master of Business and the MBA. And we have in the school a specifically dedicated interest group on how to integrate artificial intelligence in business. So our thinking, our research, our engagement in these type of issues is driven by a group of my colleagues who have created this special interest group, and they very actively are at the frontier of the conversation on the use of artificial intelligence in business. Let me stop here and thank you everyone for your attention. Feel free to contact me, of course, and happy to take any questions if anyone has anything that they would like to ask.
Thank you, Professor. Let me just take out your screen. And yes, it was an amazing presentation. I'm sure everyone here loved it a lot. So if you have any questions for Professor Fabrizio, please send in the chat. If you are watching us from YouTube or Facebook, we are going to receive it all and he's going to answer. In this meantime, I do have some questions for you, Professor. So the first it is how can the leaders effectively like integrate the artificial intelligence into traditional business models without like disrupting current operations too much. Today my English is really bad, but basically
No, it's perfect.
the question was like, how can we integrate the AI into these traditional business models that we have already?
It's a very good question, and I'm afraid that there is a little bit of disruption. There is no way you can do that without disruption. Disruption is not a bad thing, Julia, in itself. The whole of economic history is a history of creative disruption. Think about when we introduce mechanics into factories, or when we introduce the engine into transportation, electricity. You know, these are all things that are disruptive in the sense that some part of traditional businesses will become redundant, but there will be new businesses, new jobs, new positions that emerge because of that disruption. So there is inevitably some disruption. The point is to make sure that that disruption leads to some creation. So when we said before, it's important that you plan how you bring in artificial intelligence into your business to complement what you do, to integrate with what you do, and to align with the goals of your company. Well, that's the challenge, if you want, for a leader, because if you fail that challenge, then you disrupt your business without creating anything new. But if you get that challenge right, then your business, after the initial period of transformation, will become more and more competitive and grow faster than it has never done before. So not an easy task. There isn't a real playbook. Maybe I should not use the word playbook in the future. There isn't a real playbook. There isn't a magic wand. It's a matter of learning. That's why you need to surround yourself with some new talent. That's why you need to spend time about thinking about the complexities of artificial intelligence. It's a learning process for business leaders as well. Absolutely.
Perfect, Professor. And I think that this is okay. I thought my audio was off. No, this is something so new that we are all learning together how to use and integrate. And I do have another question about it. about the artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. Sorry. Today my English is not that good, but it's fine. But my
Mhm.
next question is how can the leaders that use the artificial intelligence ensure that we are doing this use but align it with ethical considerations and like being in like our ethical stuff?
Yeah. Look, it changes a little bit on depending on the business and on the sector. The main challenge, and I repeat it because to me it's a big one, the main ethical issue that we face is when we delegate the decision-making process to artificial intelligence and then we don't take responsibility for those decisions. That's the biggest ethical challenge that I believe we have as a business community. Um, you know, artificial intelligence today is used often in recruitment decisions. Companies that receive 100 of applications, they put all these applications through some artificial intelligence algorithm, and that algorithm will return the best possible candidate based on the information contained in the CV. But this type of decision can be biased. This type of decision can take or not take into account elements which are very important and that are not necessarily captured by a CV or by quantitative information. So it is very important to, whichever business we are, it is very important to understand that ultimately artificial intelligence is a support to the decision making process. To me, that's the right way to implement artificial intelligence in an ethical way. Understand that it provides a complement, a support, not a substitution for our own decision making. We retain responsibility in the end. And the moment we fail to do that, well, that's when we run into serious issues.
Amazing. I have here a comment from Mauricio. He
Thank you.
said, "Great stuff, guys." So thank you, Mauricio. If you are like in our amazing webinar and if you have some questions, please let us know. That we are be really happy to answer you. And I have one more question, just one more. But it is about decision making and like in terms of IA, the driving and decision making. How can the leaders balance the automation with the need of human in judgment?
Yeah. Look, it's the decisions that we made before. We have always tried to make decisions based on data, right? Human beings make decisions based on the information that they have. However, our ability to gather information and to actually analyze that information has been exponentially increased by artificial intelligence. So before artificial intelligence, we relied much more on our experience and our intuition. If I'm thinking, for instance, also about my job, I've always had access to some information, financial information for the school or academic information for our courses, for our students. But then my capability to analyze this information was very much based on my experience, my intuition, and that's what drove the decision-making process. Now, I've got access to much more powerful analytical tools that allow me to rely maybe a bit less on my experience and my intuition and a bit more from what I see in the data. Now, that doesn't mean that intuition, experience, creativity are not important. In fact, they're still critically important. The advantage of artificial intelligence is that because I don't have to do so much of the number crunching, so much of the computational analysis of the data, I have more time for the creative process that is so important in big decisions that we made for our businesses. So again, it's a balancing act. The decision making, we still have a lot of human factor in it, but this human factor is today more than ever better supported by the artificial intelligence tools that provide the data analysis. So potentially, that's a win-win situation. We've got better data analysis, more data, better analyzed, more time to use those data, combined with our creativity and intuition to hopefully make better decisions.
Perfect, Professor. Thank you
That's
for
where the
the
opportunity. That's where the opportunity is, right? That's what the great thing about artificial intelligence is, that it does give us a big opportunity, but it's for us to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yes, that is a whole universe to be discovered with artificial intelligence, and I'm really grateful for having all your knowledge here. I do not have more questions, so I think that if anyone have questions, you can let in the chat so we can answer. But from my side, I had these three, and yes, I think that our time is also going. We have more 5 minutes to end, so I would like to. I think we can like finish in here because we have 5 minutes. I would like to start. Thank you both. Thank you, Renata and UNESCO, for the amazing partnership that we have. Thank you, Professor, for being here and dividing with us a lot of knowledge. I know those amazing students that are hungry for knowledge and technology and know more about technology get really excited about it. So thank you both, and I will let you talk a little bit, Renata and Professor. So please.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much again for the invitation, and it was great to have Professor Fabrício here. And I was like amazed by your lecture, and I was learning a lot also from the information. And my conclusion is like, don't have any resistance to the technology and AI. Let's embrace it and use it to complement what we already had. Like to complement, it's a win-win situation. Let's use it in our favor and just have the best of it. So I think it was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for teaching us. And for students who want to know more, you can contact me. I'm based here in Brazil, and renata.balaguer@unesq.edu.au, and also with Spiegel Tech. Thank you very much, Julian. Thank you, Professor Fabrício.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Renata. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone, for joining the webinar. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I hope to see you, as many of you as possible, around Springfield to Toowoomba. I forgot to say that the 2 flight simulators are actually in the business school, because in the business school we also teach aviation. So come for a ride in the simulators. It's very exciting.
No, so nice. The flight simulators are something really interesting.
They're amazing. They're really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe once when I go to Australia, if I go to Australia, I'll go to UNESCO to know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come and visit our campus.
Yeah, we do have our team on shore. So if you guys that are watching don't know, we have our amazing team on shore, and both we have I think 1 or 2 people really close to Queensland. They are in Gold Coast, so it's really nice to have this team there, because they go to the schools and they come like, yes, they are amazing. We can trust them. It's really nice, and it's something different that for our students to have our team there and to help. So I would like to thank everyone to be here. It is always amazing to have UNESCO here. Every time that you guys come, you brought us a lot of knowledge. We get so happy to have you here. If you that are watching us want to know more about UNESCO or technology or another areas of programs, I know that we have a lot for you. So be in contact with Spiegel and Spiegel Tech, or our consultants are here to you, and they know a lot about visa and everything about Australia. So let's go do your bags and let's go to learn more about technology on UNESCO. I hope, Professor, that you're going to see a lot of Spiegel students on your classes soon.
I hope so too.
Tonight. Bye bye, guys. Thank you, everyone.